Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a journey that is quite frankly, absolutely essential. Just imagine for a second that you aren't sitting wherever you are right now, but instead, you're a traveler standing on the very edge of a vast, unforgiving, endless expanse of sand. This is the desert of Samsara, the continuous cycle of conditioned existence. For the Zen practitioner, making it across this wasteland isn't just about raw effort, it's about pure survival. It takes deep, strategic discernment. So today, we're going to decode the ultimate survival guide to crossing this desert without losing your way, your mind, or ultimately your freedom.
Okay, let's dive into this itinerary. This map is going to help us avoid those tricky mirages, fight off our own internal demons, and eventually reach a truly unconditioned heart. We'll start by navigating the desert, then secure our base with a foundation of refuge, explore the alchemy of wisdom, unmask the yaka, and finally, arrive at ultimate liberation.
So, starting with step 1, navigating the desert of Samsara, and specifically hitting that critical fork in the road.
As a student of the way, picture yourself standing right at this massive junction in the desert. Before taking a single step forward, you have to realize that the quality of your discernment right here, right now, will dictate the success of your entire spiritual life. Out in this vast emptiness, one wrong turn compounds over miles and miles. On one hand, you've got the true Dharma, the unillusioned truth. It's grounded, super practical, and points to a righteous way forward. But on the other hand, there are the false doctrines. And these are tricky because they look just like a dazzling heat mirage. They're shimmering, highly speculative, and they offer these temporary, easy escapes. Honestly, it's totally human to fall for the mirage of a quick fix when you're spiritually exhausted, right? We all want the shortcut, but they are empty promises. Choosing the true Dharma isn't just picking your favorite philosophy. It's a strategic pivot. It literally determines whether you move toward true liberation or just wander in circles back into deeper entanglement.
That brings us to Section 2, the foundation of refuge, or building your base.
Look, if you want to escape the crushing weight of dukkha or suffering, raw energy just isn't going to cut it. You need a stable framework. Without it, you'll be completely overwhelmed by the shifting sands of your own internal turmoil. To build that base, we look to the three jewels, the Buddha as the source of awakening, the Dharma as the undeniable truth of how things are, and the Sangha as the community of realized ones who've walked this path before us. Building your base on these three jewels isn't about blind passive faith at all. It's a strategic necessity. It's a purposeful alignment, like choosing to build your spiritual house on unshakable bedrock instead of fragile sand dunes.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how we use that foundation. The Four Noble Truths serve as the ultimate comprehensive map. First, seeing the reality of suffering. Second, identifying the exact origin of it. Third, witnessing its actual cessation. And fourth, walking the Noble Eightfold Path to end all defilements. By sticking to this map, you essentially trade the wild, tangled jungle of your own speculative doubts for a life of active, precise internal cultivation.
Moving right along to Section 3, the alchemy of wisdom, or refining the mind.
We hear the word wisdom all the time, right? Usually we think of it as a passive collection of facts, like memorizing a textbook. But for the awakened heart, wisdom is totally different. It's an active, dynamic, and strategic progression used to refine the mind and separate truth from absolute falsehood. To grasp the sheer power of this, ancient traditions give us this stunning metaphor, pouring lion's marrow into a golden tube. Wow. The idea here is that the Dharma is a substance so potent, so deeply powerful, that it would completely dissolve a lesser, weaker vessel. You can't just casually receive it, you have to be ready.
That preparation brings us to the first stage of this alchemical process, wisdom from listening, or sutta maya panya. Going back to our metaphor, to safely contain that potent truth of the lion's marrow, you need a vessel made of gold. That gold represents a mind purified by ethical precepts, or sila. Without the moral grounding of these precepts, the mind just can't hold the immense weight of true wisdom. Honestly, it would shatter.
But here's the catch. Listening is just step 1. It's not enough to just hear the teachings. You must develop insight, which requires the active application of deep examination. You actually have to put the teachings through the rigorous test of your own direct experience in everyday life. You have to watch your mind with absolute precision to illuminate whether a specific thought or action is leading you toward greed and hatred or toward calm equanimity. Which perfectly sets up Section 4, probably the most dangerous part of the desert, unmasking the jakas or spotting internal delusions. As you refine your mind out there in the desert, you're going to encounter the yakas. But listen, these aren't scary external monsters hiding behind a rock. They're way more dangerous because they are strictly internal.
They're the subtle, sweet internal voices and urges that softly encourage you to abandon your progress just when the journey feels way too long. So how exactly do you spot this internal demon? If a delusion doesn't look ugly, but instead presents itself as a dazzling promise of immediate pleasure or some highly intellectual but wrong doctrine, how does the Zen practitioner recognize it before it's too late?
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it acts like a psychological field guide. Just like a wise caravan leader looks for physical abnormalities in a hidden threat, you have to look for mental markers. First, spot the red eyes. This represents the burning heat of intense craving or hatred within a thought. Second, notice the lack of shadows. These are thoughts with no real foundation in the law of cause and effect. They just magically promise results without any real work. And third, identify the contradiction. The demon promises immediate, refreshing rain, but when you look up, there are no clouds, no lightning, and no thunder. It's all a sweet deception designed to make you drop your guard.
So what's the ultimate takeaway here? It is absolutely crucial. Do not pour away your precious water jars for a false promise of rain. Out in the desert of Samsara, your water jars are your precepts. They're your ethical boundaries. Abandoning your guard of precepts for an internal mirage is a fatal strategic error. Once you unmask the deception by noticing the lack of thunder and shadows, you keep your water jars safe and you continue moving toward absolute clarity.
Finally, we reach Section 5, Mindfulness and Ultimate Liberation, the end of the path.
This is the true culmination of the entire journey. By synthesizing mindfulness and deep concentration, you finally gain the power to pierce right through the dazzling brilliance of the conditioned world. When that concentration is perfected, you look at the 5 aggregates and they reveal their true nature: impermanence, suffering, and non-self. You realize that even the most enticing thoughts and experiences have absolutely no lasting core. They're just phenomena that arise and then, poof, they cease.
Let's move to and see how this builds. As the mind ripens, it moves through profound stages of transformation. You witness the heart's unfolding, starting with stream entry, progressing all the way to arhatship, and finally hitting ultimate liberation. At this peak, all that intellectual speculation and inner chatter is just completely left behind in favor of a state of pure non-discourse.
Which leaves us with one final, provocative question. Are you ready to drop the intellectual map and embrace a direct, liberating experience? By holding fast to the true Dharma and refusing to toss out the water jar of your precepts, you transcend the illusions of the desert. You realize the path doesn't end in a mirage. It ends in the enduring peace of a heart that is completely free, entirely unconditioned, and perfectly at rest. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the desert, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.